Shalom, brothers and sisters. So, another really encouraging article coming out of Israel that was published on the 1st, actually, so it's been up for a few days, that I thought was really impressive. And the reason for that is sometimes, even amongst Christian faithful circles, most people still have their eyes closed and their ears closed, and they don't realize or want to realize that they're living in the final moments of prophecy and end times. They don't want to acknowledge it. They don't want to think about it. They've got a 10-year plan, 20-year plan. They've got all these things, their whole lives worked out for themselves and plotted. Where we should be living with the constant thing in our minds of, if God wills. What is God's plan? Does God want me to do this? God should be first and foremost in all our plans. But I digress. Sometimes the rabbis actually get a few points really good, and this is one of those times that I want to share with you in this article. It's called The Biblical War Hidden in Plain Sight. Tens of thousands of Jews worldwide study the daily page of the Talmud, found themselves reading the ancient prediction about Persia's defeat by the West on the very day Israel launched its devastating attack on Iran's nuclear program. So Jews all over the world every day have got a portion that they read and study, and this is now what this rabbi is referring to. Rabbi Pesach Walicki, Executive Director of Israel 365 Action, revealed this extraordinary coincidence during a recent webinar. The tradition of Daf Yomi, studying one page of Talmud daily, began in 1923 and now involves hundreds of thousands of Jews worldwide. The Talmud's 2,711 pages take 7.5 years to complete, with participants following the same daily schedule worldwide. Now, interesting for me again, my Sholto brain goes, oh, 7.5, 7. Interesting, eh? 7.5 years to read through their Talmud. The page that he's telling us about, the one page of all the 2,711 pages of the Talmud, states that Iran will fall into the hands of the West, and that was the page of the day, this past Saturday, the date that Trump ordered the attack, Rabbi Walicki explained. The timing is no accident. That specific page contains a 13th century commentary stating that just before the coming of the Messiah, Persia, Iran, will be defeated by Rome, and they understand Rome as representing Western civilization in rabbinical literature. I personally, as a biblical student, look at the area that Rome encompassed in the time of Christ, because that is the Rome that conquered and destroyed Israel AD 70, and that it's him, they are the same nation that the prince that is to come will come from. But I digress again. He also shared a 1,500-year-old midrashic text that reads like a blueprint for current events. Now, let me just point out, this is not the Bible and biblical. This is all their extra biblical traditions and beliefs and rabbinical literature. The Pesikta Rabbati, compiled in the 6th century, we're at the end of the 6th day, getting ready for 1,000-year reign with Christ in the 7th day of rest. Compiled in the 6th century, contains a prophecy attributed to Rabbi Yitzhak. In the year that the King Messiah will be revealed, all the kings of the nations of the world will be struggling with each other. As we see right now, the king of Persia, Iran, will struggle against the Arabian king, possibly Saud and those people. The king of Persia will pursue the destruction of the entire world. So a time when the whole world is concerned with Iran, and Iran seeking the destruction of the world. And we're in that time now. Rabbi Walicki noted the text's prescient accuracy before the modern era of communication. There was no way for all the leaders of the nations of the world to be in a panic about the same problem. Concerned, some of them. Obviously, this midrash is describing a time period where the entire world has this interaction and integration that we have today. And Persia, Iran, is threatening the rest of the world. Rabbi Waliki opened his remarks with a striking observation about historical perspective. When God split the Red Sea and the nation of Israel was walking across on dry land, by the way, if you were there walking across the Red Sea at the time, he says, you probably didn't say to yourself, hey, I'm in the Bible. And that is precisely where we find ourselves today. Hey, we're in the Bible. We're in that time described of the final days. We're living in the Bible's final stretch. The military transformation Rabbi Waliki described represents more than tactical victories. It fulfills ancient biblical prophecies. The ingathering of the Jews back to Israel after 2,000 years of the diaspora, described in Deuteronomy 30 as occurring after the Jewish people are scattered to the ends of the heavens. That has been fulfilled. The last little bits are coming in due to pressure. They'll be regathered to our land and become more numerous and more prosperous than our ancestors. Those things have happened. We're living in that time period. My entire life, he says, I'm 55 years old, and every waking moment of my entire life, Israel has faced existential threats from powerful enemies who wish to destroy us. Rabbi Waliki continued, for the first time in my life, there are no existential threats to Israel. The progression has been methodical and complete. Before October 7, Israel faced what he called a ring of fire. Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, 150,000 missiles, Iranian bases throughout Syria, Iran's nuclear program. The dismantling began with Hamas. It continued through Hezbollah's decimation via the famous pager attacks and the campaign that took place in the north, the collapse of Assad's Syria. The culmination was Israel's achievement of complete air superiority over Iran that we all watched. Israel has total freedom of operation in Iranian skies, Rabbi Waliki explained. The airspace over all those countries, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Jordan, Iran, now fully under the watchful eye of the Israeli Air Force. This means as soon as the Iranians try to start rebuilding air defenses, as soon as they start trying to rebuild nuclear facilities or ballistic missile capabilities, the Israelis are in the air. We have full surveillance over Iran right now. This represents more than military dominance. It constitutes what Rabbi Waliki sees as the beginning of redemption. Redemption is about not being subservient and not being endangered by our enemies anymore, he explained. The Jewish people, after the lowest of the low that we were on October 7, emerged today as the most powerful country in the region. God is pointing to us and saying it's happening. We are in that time period. See, he's right about that. We're in that time period. We must ask ourselves, and this was a good point, why did God choose me to be alive at this moment? What does that mean? His message is clear. Pay attention to what's going on. Give thanks to God for what's going on. As the ancient texts find expression in modern events, Rabbi Waliki's analysis suggests we are witnessing not merely military victories, but the unfolding of divine promises millennia in the making. The question now is whether we have the eyes to see what is happening before us. So, brilliant analysis and brilliant points that he brings to bear here. It is sad that most of them are still not seeing Messiah. Isaiah 53, Psalm 22, and various other places where Jesus is just leaping off the pages of the Tanakh for them. And I keep praying for their eyes to be opened on that. And that being said, if we move to, and he doesn't reference this at all, obviously, but let me reference it and take it further. Matthew 13, and we're going to read from verse 14 to 17. And in them, the Jews, the prophecy of Isaiah is fulfilled, which says, hearing you will hear and shall not understand. Seeing you will see and not perceive. For the hearts of this people have grown dull. Their ears are hard of hearing. Their eyes they have closed, lest they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears, lest they should understand with their hearts and turn, so that I should heal them. But blessed, Baruch, are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For assuredly I say to you, that many prophets and righteous men desired to see what you see, and did not see it, to hear what you hear, and did not hear it. Now, as true as those words were for the time of Christ's first visitation, and how many of us, even today, myself included, would have wanted a moment to be there, just in the crowd, listening to him teach, watching him do what he's doing, and did not see it or experience it, the same can be said for this final stretch of the prophecies Christ spoke about the end of the age. And here we are, living it, seeing it all around us. And yet, even amongst believers, not even the Jews, who are hard of heart and dull of hearing and of sight, that don't want to see or understand, some of them are starting to see and call out a warning about the time we're living in. And yet amongst the church, there are still those who don't want to hear and don't want to see, that don't even want to discuss eschatological end time events and the fact that everything's going down around us in a very real fashion. Can you imagine being at the most incredible time in history and to be able to see it and experience it and refuse to look? Crazy, right? Doesn't even make sense. Doesn't begin to make sense. But here we are. Here we are at those final moments. And for me, it's exciting, it's uplifting. It shows you that everyone, including those who shouldn't actually be understanding it, are seeing it, are experiencing it, are getting excited. The sad part is that they're going to accept someone that comes in his own name. But for us, we will see our Messiah very, very shortly as he comes to collect his bride and take us and keep us until the indignation is over, until the judgment is passed and we return with him. When he comes back, the Bible says, with all his saints, because they are with him. He has already collected them. Exciting times to be alive. Keep looking up, keep encouraging one another, keep praying for one another, as you also are doing. Shalom.